The young ticket agent never meant to disrespect anyone. To her, it was just another busy morning at Denver International Airport, flight delays, long lines, frustrated passengers. But what she didn't realize was that one quiet man standing before her would change her life, and the reputation of her entire airline within minutes. It started with an old veteran walking toward the check-in counter, wearing a faded green jacket with several patches sewn neatly onto it. His silver hair was cropped short, his gait slow but steady. Hanging around his neck was a simple black lanyard that held his ID and a small medal that shimmered faintly in the fluorescent light. "Sir, may I have your ticket?" the young agent asked politely. He smiled gently and handed over his boarding pass. "I was hoping to confirm my seat upgrade," he said in a calm, respectful tone. "My daughter booked me business class. I need the extra legroom for my leg." He tapped his cane lightly, "Old injury from my service days." The agent glanced at the screen. "I'm sorry, sir, but your ticket shows you've been moved to economy. There must have been an issue with the system." He nodded, not wanting to cause trouble. "That's all right. I'll take the seat, ma'am." But the people in line behind him, and eventually the entire terminal, would soon find out that this quiet man was no ordinary passenger. As he waited by the gate, the veteran sat quietly, holding his cap with both hands. It bore the emblem of the Medal of Honor, America's highest military distinction. A young boy sitting nearby noticed it and tugged on his mother's sleeve. "Mom, look, that man's got the same medal we saw in the museum." The mother's eyes widened. She recognized it instantly. She whispered softly, "Sweetheart, don't bother him, but yes, that medal means he's a hero." The boarding process began. Passengers in first class, now boarding. The veteran didn't move. He wasn't in first anymore. His leg ached, but he waited patiently until they called, Group 6. Slowly, with the help of his cane, he approached the gate. As he was about to board, a tall businessman rushed past him, bumping his shoulder. The man turned around briefly. "Watch it, old man. You're holding up the line." The gate agent frowned but didn't intervene. The veteran simply nodded. "Sorry, son." He moved on quietly, his humility shining in contrast to the chaos around him. Inside the plane, there was barely enough room for his leg brace. He struggled to fit his small duffel bag in the overhead bin. A flight attendant offered to help, but another passenger impatiently muttered, "Come on, some of us actually have places to be." The attendant gently helped the veteran settle down. She noticed the medal around his neck. Her eyes widened. She knew exactly what it was. She whispered, "Sir, is that the Medal of Honor?" He gave a modest nod. "Yes, ma'am. But please, just treat me like everyone else." She smiled faintly, though her hands trembled as she excused herself. Within 2 minutes, she was on the phone to the captain. Up in the cockpit, the captain froze. "What did you say?" "Seat 28C, the attendant repeated. "Medal of Honor recipient. Downgraded to economy." "Not for long," the captain said, his voice tight with disbelief. "Call ground operations. Now." 8 minutes later, as passengers were still boarding, the plane door suddenly reopened. Everyone turned their heads when they saw a group of airline officials walk in, led by none other than the airline president himself. The president, still in his navy suit from a nearby board meeting, walked straight down the aisle with a look of determination. Cameras and phones immediately rose from the passengers' hands. He stopped at row 28. "Sir," he said softly, "I'm President James Holland of the airline. I believe a grave mistake was made." The veteran blinked in surprise. "It's all right, son. These things happen." "No, sir," the president said firmly. "Not to you. Not on my airline." He turned to the stunned passengers and the flight attendants. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have among us a man who received the highest military honor this country can give, for acts of bravery beyond words. This man fought for the freedom that allows every one of us to fly, to work, to live as we do today." The plane went silent. Then, slowly, passengers began to clap. The president gently took the veteran's bag. "Sir, if you'll allow me, I'd be honored if you'd take my seat, 1A. The old man shook his head. "I can't take your seat." The president smiled. "You're not taking it, sir. You've earned it." As the veteran was escorted to the front, Passengers stood and applauded. Some saluted. Others had tears in their eyes. Even the man who had bumped into him earlier stood silently, his face red with shame. When the veteran reached his seat in first class, the young boy from the terminal ran up with his mother. "Sir, thank you for your service," the boy said shyly. The old soldier's eyes softened. He bent down and whispered, "You're very welcome, son. Just promise me something, always be kind, no matter who someone looks like." The boy nodded. Throughout the flight, the cabin crew made sure the veteran was comfortable. But he never acted special. He shared stories about his fellow soldiers, the friends he'd lost, the lessons he'd learned about courage and humility. The president himself stayed for a while, listening quietly. When the plane landed, the captain made an announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, before you deboard, please remain seated as we honor one of our nation's finest, Medal of Honor recipient, Colonel James Porter." The passengers erupted in applause once again. As the veteran stood to leave, he turned to the president and said softly, "Thank you for the kindness today. I didn't fight for recognition. I fought so that others could live freely. But it means more than you know to be treated with respect." The president saluted him. "No, sir. Thank you, for reminding us what respect really means."